coming to the topic as a business model for the, regarding to the water, what a country like Pakistan have potential to do, and what are the current scenarios. So I'll be just quickly showing few slides, and then during the answer and questions session, you are more than welcome to ask me questions. I think Adrian gave a picture of the OECD, what's the status, and I just took that from the German Watch Report 2017. It was published, and you may see clearly where the Pakistan stands, and the index, climate risk index. Pakistan is one of those most vulnerable countries in the world who are having threats regarding to the climate change. So that's why we are among the top 10 countries who are facing the climate change. But still there's a debate whether it's a climate change or there are some other indicators of the parameters. Because if we talk about the climate change, a country like Pakistan, so abruptly the second question comes into our mind is the water. Because either we have to face the floods or we have to face the droughts. So we are sitting at the both extreme ends. WWF, I think you guys know about how we are working in the world. We are having a network in more than 100 countries. And our mission is to stop the degradation of the planet's natural resources and build a future where humans live with harmony. Coming to the Pakistan's water issues, there are a number of conferences and publications until now. If we see at a glance, you may be able to see these are a few categories that the debate always surrounds or moves around, like the weak policy, legal framework, water scarcity, regularities issues are there, health impacts, climate change, water-related risks to the businesses, groundwater, and inefficient floodplain management. So everybody knows, and a series of published papers are available on these topics and the issues that how to tackle and how to deal it. But then the question comes, what now? Either we should be just only confined only these kinds of the published papers and the research more and more, but on ground, what are the interventions that we have done? Or in Pakistan, what are the good examples that could be replicated in some other areas? So, if we talk about the businesses, textile and leather, these are the two leading businesses in Pakistan regarding to the exports, and textile is contributing more around 8.5% of our GDP, and same is the case with leather. And we do have more than 1,600 textile processing who are actually claimed to be the most dirty process in the textile full production line or the supply chain. If that water is coming and our rivers are being contaminated by these, the processes, that's true, directly or indirectly, our wastewater is going into, into the water bodies. We claim that Pakistan being an agrarian country, and we are consuming more than 90% of our water into our, the agriculture products. That's true. But have we estimated what is although the textile, leather, or the other industrial premises they are consuming, there are some statistics like the 3% or the 4% of the total water consumption. But if we talk about the quality of the water, what is the figure? Have we estimated? Like, are the businesses leading in that, or are the agriculture is leading for regarding to the grey water footprint? This is a big question on which we need to work. So these are a few stats. I am just skipping them considering the time regarding to the leather and the textile. Because in the world, after Italy, Pakistan's leather is at number 2nd in the world regarding to the quality, and a number of factors which I just came to know a few months before. I was having a meeting with the PTA, Pakistan Tanners Association president, so I just came to know it was also, I was surprised actually, because yes, we know we are good in quality of the leather and the textile, but if we talk about the quality, so Pakistani leather is considered the number 2nd in the world after Italy. So there is debate on the sustainable management practices, or what are the practices that we should opt for the businesses, because businesses are the main, in the equation, businesses are the main, contributor into the theory of the change. So businesses actually, the main thing is that I'll be just sharing in the other slides, if I think the light comes in, otherwise I have learned that by heart, so I can also share, and water is my passion. So if we talk about the businesses in Pakistan, there are 3 to 4 kinds of the businesses. Like, one is the progressive group, who are dealing with the international market, who are export oriented. The second tier is the competitors in the market, and the third tier is the lower ones, or the followers. So if we talk about the best model or the practices that we can preach or we can convince to the businesses, so there are several steps we should take to take them on track. Water stewardship is an example of that Adrian well said, and Atika well presented an example of that how we can convince, and what are the good examples of that. I'll be sharing few examples from the textile and the leather sector regarding to the water stewardship. Water stewardship is actually a procedure, it's having 5 to 6 steps. First, it comes for the awareness, understanding by the businesses, then towards the, the internal action, and then the collective action, then advocacy and the governance level. The slides which I am just showing you regarding to the theory of the change, it is an European Union funded project for the implementation of the labor and environmental standards in the textile and the leather sector, where we are trying to convince the businesses, we are trying to mobilize them and giving them some technical assistance that how a business could become resource efficient. Most of the businesses, or a business person knows only one language, because there is also a categorization of the business mindsets. Like the Karachi people, business are more professional. Lahore have their own, strategy. The Faisalabad, Sialkot, these kinds of the premises are having their own, the strategy and the dealing. So, but there's one common thing in all these businesses. That is, what else I'll get when I will be investing in the sustainable management practices. Definitely there is a business case, there is a cost benefit analysis from where you can convince a business and it could be contributed into the environment. Because honestly speaking, 3 to 4 decades before, or still the lower tier businesses or the followers, they don't know the terminology of the environment, that how they can contribute into the environment, because they are more concerned regarding to some other businesses' perspectives, because there are several issues at the domestic level regarding to the energy crisis, regarding to some other issues, gas price, etc. So the businessman only knows one language, which is the cost benefit analysis. This is up to the thing or the consultant, that how they can convince him to contribute into the environment. We started a project with the European Union, and it's just in its start, where we targeted, our target is to engage 75 different businesses and give them technical assistance, sustainable management practices or smart environmental management practices. On the basis of that, we'll be coming up with some business case studies, and we are trying to integrate it with the international level, because the other objective of our project is to give them an opportunity at the international market, because there are a number of businesses, leather sector enterprises and the textile, who are working at the local level, who are complying, but they don't have access to the international market, because they don't know the documentation and the stuff like that. So this, the exercise that we are doing is an opportunity to give them an outreach at the international market. The other thing is the review of our environmental laws, legislations, because there were some transition phase that we are passing through after the 18th Amendment. So that's why there is always a gap of the confidence or lack of confidence between the businesses and the government regarding to the implementation of the environmental laws, and businesses are concerned, have their own concerns that how to translate the laws into their own premises. So we are trying to do so. So these are a few examples. I'm sorry, I have given the typical examples of the textile and the leather sector to convince them, like these are the things that what are you doing on ground? It could be translated into the international or MEAs, multilateral environmental agreements, and what are the benefits. We have done exercise in the past when we started the work in 2013 on the water stewardship, and we came up with a few figures. I'll be sharing in the next slides with you guys. These are a few procedures that how we do environment audit of the industry. We have taken on board some big champs who are having big name in the textile and leather, and the suppliers of the big brands like Levi's, Nike, IKEA, who are working with us. So an example of that is an industry can save up to 110,000 cubic meters of the water on an annual basis if they can invest on this. And the payback period is, it varies on the basis of the intervention, 6 months to 1 year. So I think the Karachi people will be more able to understand this figure, because the people who are still living in the Punjab area, and they are abstracting groundwater, so it's more difficult to discuss with them regarding to that, because groundwater is another issue, and Rafi is here, he knows very well what's the how we are playing with the groundwater policy. So the people are not taking care of the groundwater policy or the act, and they are abstracting without following any law or legislation. This is the example which I just mentioned earlier, that was another European Union funded project in which we took on board 35 businesses. We gave them technical assistance regarding to the the capacity building, water pollution reduction within their supply chain, and the multi-stakeholder partnership. This is another area which is actually taking care of the stuff under the domain of the water stewardship. And what were the benefits? Oh, sorry. Can you please just check? The 35 businesses, including the textile processing and the leather sector, they invested around 1 million euros of the investment in different practices. And after a year, they came up with 1.5 million euros benefits in terms of water saving, energy saving, pollution reduction, and they saved around 4.46 million cubic meters of the water, which was sufficient for the people who are living for their daily consumption of 1 year. Around, I think it was around 40,000. It was sufficient for 40,000 people for their 1 year, their domestic consumption of the water, which is a good case study. And I just wanted to show you that slide. I'm sorry, I think there's some problem with that. And we saved around more than 1 ton of the chemicals, 1,100 kilograms of the chemical, and 11,000 kg of the CO2 as well. These were some statistics that we just came up after our 1 year analysis, and that we try to replicate and convince the other businesses that how the other businesses could adopt that. So the citywide partnership is actually another forum. This is the voluntary platform which is taking care of the water stewardship. We have established that in Lahore, and now we are planning to replicate in the other regions of the country like Karachi, where we are planning to join hands with the Hisaar Foundation and some other key players working here. We are planning to work with in Faisalabad and Sialkot. These are the objectives of that how we will be working together. I think there's some problem here, so can you please just move from there? So we are actually trying to establish that partnership. This is a voluntary group, informal group, who will be just taking care and giving recommendation under that umbrella. Actually, Nestle also became a part of that partnership, and then the AWS idea was conceived. Similarly, some other initiatives were taken with the other businesses that we took in Lahore, and now we are anticipating to replicate those ideas in the other regions of the country. The nutshell of my presentation is that once a business is convinced to do something, definitely there are benefits for that business, and definitely it could contribute into the environment as well. So, but the thing is the way that how we can convince the business and how a business can take the initiative. So that's all from my side. Thank you very much.